Hello, everyone. I believe we are live on YouTube. Do let me know in the comments if you can see me and hear me. I can see that there's some comments in the chat already, and I'm so happy to see some familiar names in there. So come on in, welcome. I'm so excited to be here. And tonight we will be discussing how to plan the 100-day project. This is a very gentle, creative approach that we are going to take. And I am also going to demonstrate, show you what I'm planning to do for the 100-day project this year. And I can give you a little hint, I guess. If you've been around, you might have seen my project last year. And I'm going to do the same one because I loved it so much. It was so much fun. And I would love to invite you to join me this year again. And it's all about daily sharing, daily creating, taking those tiny little increments of time and feeling better through art. That's what we want. That's the ultimate goal for us, isn't it? So let's have a look at the chat. Sound great, video great, fantastic. Thank you so much and welcome again. And I shall get going because my plan is to keep this 45 minutes roughly. I know you've got things to do, so I really want these YouTube lives to be a really lovely, mindful session during the week that we can get together, but I don't want to take too much of your time. So I think it's good that we just sort of hop in straight away and talk a little bit about planning while we are creating some art. So if you are creating tonight, you can go ahead and grab your supplies. As I mentioned earlier when I was talking about the live, you don't need anything specific. It's all about mixed media, and you can create on anything that you like. My substrate of choice, usually, if you could say that, is an art journal because I really love art journals. So I'll be working in this one. Before we get going, I wanted to show you this particular page because it's something that it is a part of something that I'm hoping would help you quite a bit when you plan your 100-day project and take part this year. So it is called this little tool that I created. It's this one. It doesn't look like a tool actually, but in a way it is. It's a very creative tool. So it's called the layer jar. So this is actually a printable digital, or it's a printable product, the actual prompt um, PDF, I guess you could call it, but it's a course. So you get a tutorial and you get 100 prompts for mindful layering throughout the 100-day project. So this is something that could sort of help you get through the 100 days. Because last year, what I noticed, the biggest obstacle for myself personally was coming up with what to do. So this layer jar actually takes the decision out of your hands. So you can just open your jar, you've got the printable, you've printed all these little prompts, and you pick a prompt and you create. So you don't have to think about what to do. You can just grab a prompt, go through them throughout the 100 days. You can always reuse them as well. So you don't actually have to take them out of the jar or anything like that. That's entirely up to you how you wish to use it. But this is meant to take the decision making out of your hands so you can just relax and focus on creating because that's what we want, don't we? More relaxing creative time. So I just wanted to show you this one first of all. And this is the page that I've created with the prompts. And today I wanted to demonstrate how you could possibly use those prompts to help you out during the 100-day project. And I've actually pulled out some of the prompts or a few prompts out of the jar for us, just because I don't want to spend any of our precious time digging out my art supplies. I thought I'll pick some randomly, and I've got the supplies here so we can just create and I can show you how it works. It's a very simple but really fun tool. Thank you for all the comments in the chat. That's so lovely. So Tina is helping me tonight and she's popped the link for you in the chat. So you can have a look if you want to read more about the layer jar. It's all about playful fun. And we can begin with the first one. So this one, let's pretend that we've got the jar right here. We pulled the first prompt out and now we are reading it and seeing what are we going to create today. So the first prompt says, cover part of your page with collage. Use paper strips from magazines, books, or any materials you have on hand to cover a section of your page. So the prompts, this is a really good example of the prompts because they can be quite simple, but it's also something that you could really spend a long time doing. So it's entirely up to you if you would like to spend 10 minutes or 3 minutes or maybe even 3 hours creating something. So that's why I really love this tool because it's very versatile. So I'll put the other prompts away and we'll start with that one. So what I'll do, and if you have your journal, you can journal with me and I would love to see what you create as always. So you can share in the free Facebook group. The link is in the caption of this video or this live on YouTube. I'd love to see unfinished layers, anything at all. You can always share in the group, because we just love to see your creativity and that's all that matters. All right, so I've got a fresh page ready to go. And I've got some glue here because I'm prepared for some collaging. And let's start. And I'm just going to, this is what I love to do. You might have seen me do this before. I've got these little clips of scraps. So these are things that I've used previously. And I just love to keep them all because I don't really throw anything out ever. And it's not always a good thing, I must tell you that. But for collaging, it's a really good thing because we've got lots of scraps that we can use. So the prompt just said to cover part of your page with collage. So it didn't actually give, the instructions are not too specific. So we can do whatever we like. And the fun thing about the prompts is that if something comes out that you don't actually feel like doing, you can always skip it. So the most important thing is that you are having a good time. That's all that matters. So you don't have to go through them one by one, making sure that you tick every single box, because this is not a, it's not to add more pressure in your creative life. Quite the opposite, actually. It's designed to take the pressure off because you don't have to make any decisions. You can just create. All right, so I've got some collages here. I'm just going to start gluing. So if you are creating right now or wanting to create, but you don't have any supplies with you just now, this is a really good moment to go and grab some, because I'll just mindfully put something on the paper. And last year, the 100-day project that I did was called 100 Days of Layers because of this. So this was the idea behind it. And that was a brand new idea that I just had, and I thought it would be really fun because I always talk about this sort of, I guess, method, could you call it, of creating 10 minutes at a time. So then that really sort of suits the idea of creating for, you know, layer by layer, basically 10 minutes every day, one layer at a time. And it turned out to be so incredibly relaxing. And the fun thing is that over time, you actually have a full page. So from all of those gentle layers that you're creating, a page comes together eventually. That's the beauty of it, really. So we're covering a section of the page or a part of the page. So I'm just going to cover this corner. So I'm not going to do my usual big collage. I'll just do a little bit and start building. This will be the first layer of the page. Grab some glue. A lot of people love to do finished projects for the 100-day project, and that's absolutely amazing, actually, if you want to do that. But for me, I just find that it's too much pressure. having to create something to call finished. So I really love the open-ended idea of this one layer at a time method, because that just means that you can always come back day after day and you don't have to take any pressure on yourself about finishing something, because you'll have days when you won't really have time to create. So on those days, you can just do a gentle mark on the page and that's it. It can be very simple. It doesn't have to be complicated at all. And that's really mindful art journaling, I think, in a yeah, in its essence. It doesn't have to be complicated as long as it's fun and relaxing. That's what we're aiming for. While I'm gluing, I'll just check what you are up to in the chat. 100 prompts. Yeah, that's right. 100 prompts in that jar. And you could always add more over time. Once you start noticing what sort of things you love, you could start adding that kind of prompts in there by hand if you wanted to. Yeah, it's really easy to use for the 100-day project. I totally agree, because it just takes the pressure off. So it makes it quite fun rather than another thing on the to-do list. Thank you so much for the lovely comments. It's so nice to create together, because you might feel that too, that sometimes creating, or the creative life, you could say, I suppose, can be a little bit lonely. So it's lovely to have our online community so we can come together and create. All right, that's our mini collage done. Super easy, super simple. And let's see what our next prompt is. So now we're imagining we're taking the layer jar, grabbing a prompt from there. I've got them here, so we don't have to go looking for any supplies. All right, so the next one, draw a series of connected U shapes. Let the U's flow together in a chain, creating a wave-like undulating pattern. That sounds really fun. Let's do that. And I've got a few markers, so now you can decide what would you like to create it with. You get to decide. I've got some crayons. I absolutely love these, because when you make marks on the page, you can then just come back with a brush and some water and keep spreading it around. Such a lovely thing to use if you like that kind of thing. And I've also got my favorite little scribbling tool. Just your normal marker, nothing special with this. And the fun part is with this one, if you make some marks and then you put some water on it afterwards, this smudges, but the marks are quite exciting. So I call those little happy accidents, when things start smudging on the page and just it starts sort of living its own life. And I love that sort of thing. So don't think that you have to, or don't worry about using these archival materials necessarily. You can use anything, and when the smudging happens, you can just enjoy that sort of happy accident, because it's really fun and you get beautiful marks out of it. So Liz is saying it's supposed to be fun. It can become kind of stressful. So having something that tells you what to do just takes the pressure off. Love the idea. And she loved the prompts because they are really simple and everyone can do them. That's so true. They are very approachable. And you can choose different ways to do them. So actually you could use the same prompt many times. Yeah, that is absolutely true. So this one that we're doing now, which was those connected U shapes, you could do this many times. You could do it with paint, you could do it with a pen, you could do it with a pencil. You could actually cut out some collage and make U shapes on the page. You can do it with crayons, watercolor, anything. So that's really the fun part. And now we're going to, if you're creating with me, we are going to create U shapes. And this could look different for you. So you can think for a second and decide, what does your U shape look like? Is it kind of like this? These could come and go in different ways, different shapes and sizes. They could be bigger or smaller. I don't know what it is, but this sort of drawing is just so relaxing when you're not making anything, but you're just putting some color on the page, making a few marks. There's no rush, no need to be anywhere or go anywhere, and you can just enjoy this creating, mindless creating in a way, because I don't know, my mind empties at least, perhaps yours as well. But we like to call it mindful rather than mindless. But I definitely can feel my mind going blank when I'm doing something like this. And as you can see, it's easy to just keep going. I could fill this whole page with this shape because it's actually surprisingly satisfying. So if you think about your 100 days, if you're doing the 100-day project, and the reason why I'm talking about it is because it is coming up at the end of February. I think it was the 22nd of February. And that's why I wanted to have this little live about the 100-day project, because perhaps in the next live, we can create some layers together again, because the challenge has probably started already by then, or it is about to start. So I wanted to talk a bit about this just to give you this idea so you have some options to think about when you're deciding what to do this year. But if you're thinking about your 100-day project, and let's say you're doing 100 days of layers, you pick these prompts out of the jar, you can see how easily you can just keep going. This is now turning into a really funky shape, actually. I quite like it. It looks very different on the camera or on the computer screen to what I'm sort of seeing here as I'm creating. Okay, that's enough, but I could definitely just keep going. There's something in repetition, something in patterns, something extremely calming that I really love. And it's just really good fun to add those little layers in there in the mix. Now we've got another drawing bit. So let's take that one. Draw only straight lines. Experiment with grids and do the whole page, cover a whole page with. But I'm just going to start here. So if you've watched any of my tutorials before, you might have noticed that I love using a pencil and I love drawing lines. So what I often do, I draw these squares or grids on the page. I just find that extremely satisfying. For some reason, my brain loves that kind of shape. As you can see, it loves this round shape as well, but I really love a good grid. So this is what my grid might look like. Yours could look a little different. So you can take a second and think, what kind of shape or mark would you like to create? And what comes to mind when someone says draw a grid? It's all about playful mark making and adding those layers little by little on the page. And I think the prompts really show you as well that it doesn't have to be planned. It really doesn't. It can be very spontaneous. It can be easy. That's my favorite thing. Actually, I've decided on a word of the year for this year, and I have picked the word ease. So I keep asking myself constantly, what could it look like if it was easy? And you can ask that about your creativity as well. And you can ask that about the 100-day projects, actually. What could it possibly look like if it was easy? And for me, easy looks like one layer at a time. And again, as you can see, it would be so easy just to keep going, keep making these grids on the page for an hour. I feel like when the decision making is taken off your hands, you can just sort of lean in and get into that flow state a lot quicker. And if I sat here and I tried to think, what should I add next? What would look good on the page? Nothing looks good on this page just now because there's nothing on it. And we can just sort of lean into that ugly stage and really just treasure it, because that's where the experiments happen. That's where all the fun happens. And doing this, we really are leaning into the experimentation. Okay, I'll do a few more and then I'll stop. So I'm not spending our whole time together making grids, even though it's super relaxing. And because of the layering process, it's very possible that none of this stuff is visible later on. So it's very possible that we hide them all as we keep creating our layers. So I'll show you an example. Well, this page that I did for the layer jar. So when you get the jar, well, not the jar per se, but the prompts, you will have you'll get a tutorial, which is over an hour, where we create this page together. There are elements in here that I've done that have since then been hidden as I kept adding new layers on top. And that's really how I love to work. I've shown you this one possibly before, so you might have seen it. Many layers in here, lots of things happening, and then eventually it comes to I guess it reaches completion. Not everything that I've put underneath is actually visible. So you can probably see that it's quite textured. And that's all because of the layering. And I just love it so much, and that's why I love talking about it. So I think that it would make a fantastic, well, actually, I know it makes a fantastic 100-day project because I did it last year. And it was so relaxing. And I actually didn't finish the project either. So you don't have to feel that you are somehow forced to keep going. That's not the case at all. So if you start the project, you can create as long as you like. But I think it's a really fun thing to do because it feels like all the creatives in the world are doing it together. That's why I really enjoy it. So you get this momentum with the project, and it's easier to keep going. And now with the prompts, it'll be even more easy. All right, I am ready. I've got the grids out of my system, so I hope you've had some time to do some doodling and we can continue. Let's see. We've got this one here. I wanted to leave the prompts because I had to pick these up front just because I didn't want to spend any time looking for supplies. So I've got everything here that we need. So now again, we can pretend that we're taking a prompt out of the jar. And I'm going to save the ones that have any paints or anything like that involved for until the last layers, just because otherwise I'll make a huge mess. So next one is more collage. So incorporate a piece of old sheet music on your page. Cut or tear a section from sheet music to add vintage charm. Absolutely love anything vintage. And actually, I've got sheet music here already because it's a music book, but I do have some more here. And this is where layering starts to come into play. You can see that I'll be hiding some of my grid. I'll be hiding some of my U shapes. I could hide some of my collage there as well. And that is absolutely fine. I think I really love the sort of idea of killing your darlings, if you've heard of that one before. So you can create something that you really love, but you are so detached from the outcome that you can let it go. It comes on your page, it's beautiful, you enjoy it, and then you cover it and something even better comes along. I really love that idea because we're not attached to the outcome. We are here with an open mind, exploring, having good fun, and not concerned or worrying about what will our page look like at the end of this. So this one probably won't look like anything, but I'm hoping to keep adding layers with the prompts, and then I'll keep building my page, and eventually it will come to completion. I don't know why, but I always press so hard when I glue, and then my glue sticks look like this. Do you have the same problem, or is it just me? I don't know why I do that. And it's just I can't stop. All right, there we go. I actually love that because we've got sheet music going that way, and now we're creating this really interesting visual pattern on the page. There we go. The best way to know that your page is finished for me is the energy, is the feeling. How does it feel? Does it feel like there's still energy in it for you? Or does it feel like the energy has completely run out? I've got lots and lots of unfinished pages in my art journals, and that is only because the energy just ran out. I don't force myself to finish those pages because sometimes I can come back to it a year and a half later and finish the page. So this also, I think, teaches you to be comfortable or get comfortable with the unfinished, with the ugly, especially if you share your layers every single day in our Facebook group, because that's why we're there. I love seeing that. And then it's so much fun for the viewer to see your page come together layer by layer over time. So you don't only have to share your beautiful finished page, you can also share the very messy middle, because that's when everyone watching, we get to appreciate those unfinished layers and the messes that you've created and those beautiful textures that are there but might get covered up later. And maybe I'm a little bit of a mixed media geek, but that's the stuff that I love. I really, really enjoy that. So I think that's why doing the 100 days of layers is a really fun project as well, because there are so many sort of unexpected little benefits. Sounds a bit strange to say when you talk about art, but it really is a huge benefit when you learn to let go of perfectionism. It really helps with that. It really does. When you share your pages, even when you're not happy or when they're unfinished, it really, really helps you in letting go of the outcome. I love to talk about this stuff because I think it's so important, because so many of us really get stuck with the idea of wanting to, or in the idea of wanting to create something beautiful. And we can appreciate those lovely little textures and little details, even if the page isn't finished or even if it isn't perfect. That's my little, yeah, I'll get off the soapbox now, but just needed to get that out of my system and tell you. Now we've got 15 minutes, so I wonder, is it too early to get on the paints? Because I really want to. Yeah, let's get on the paints, shall we? I really want to make a mess. So I've got a few painterly ones. So now, because we are doing the demo, we can just pick. And you could do this as well with the prompts. You don't have to do a prompt that you don't feel like doing. You can just pick another one. And here we go. I've got a few. So let's pick one. Splatter, for sure. I want to do some splattering. Always ready for that. Neon accents, that sounds amazing. And let's start with this one. Work with big, loose brush strokes. Go bold and free. Let's do that one. Let's start with that one. So I'm going to take my ink. I'm really drawn to black ink lately. I'm not entirely sure why, but absolutely love it. I only have, I have a little bit of a bigger brush, not much, but a little bit. So I shall use this one. And I'll dip my brush directly in here. We are working with big, loose brush strokes. Go bold and free. That's the prompt. So let's do this one. I'm dipping it in here. I like to get messy, you can probably tell. Big, loose brush strokes. You can think for a second, what does that mean for you? Do you have a shape that's calling for you? For me, I'm trying not to overanalyze it and just go for it. So I'm just rolling the brush in my hand. Oh my goodness, too much fun. How messy is this? I'm getting covered in ink. This is acrylic ink, by the way, black acrylic ink. You could do this with watercolor or acrylic paint. Now I'm just rolling it in my hands, so I've got no control over it. And here, let's have a look. And now I'll start coloring the shapes. I think there's a comment in the chat. Let's see. Oh, that's so lovely. We've got some layer jars happening or coming together in the chat. That's so lovely. Absolutely, it should be live. If it's not live yet, I'll have a look straight away after the live Ulrike. So let's have a look if there's some setting in there, but it definitely should be live. And it was working before, so I'll have a look. And you'll get instant access to it. It should all be ready to go. So I'll go and double check that after we finish. But you'll definitely get everything, all the tutorials and prompts and printables tonight. Okay, this is too much fun. But you see what I meant when I talked about creating an ugly mess. I don't think anyone can, even with good faith, I don't think you could call this very beautiful. But it's so much fun. So much fun. This is also why I wanted to create the prompts, because I feel like once we get out of our heads and thinking minds, and you get something on the page, you can then just start following those little nudges. So I wanted to do, the prompt told me to do some loose, bold brushstrokes on the paper. And then what happened next for me, I just started making coloring in and making little shapes around it. So that's all we want to do. So the prompt is there to awaken your creativity. And once it's done its job, you can just follow those little nudges, little creative breadcrumbs, you could say, and see where that takes you. And again, I want to remind you that a lot of this will be covered by other layers, so you can be totally, totally free. Totally free. And I'm actually really loving it. It's quite fun. It's like a coloring page or a coloring book, but with some inky marks. There's a danger that I'll just get so captivated by this that I'll just keep going for the rest of the evening. But that's the outcome we want, isn't it? And every single layer has the potential of giving you new ideas for your creative work. You might find something new that you love, that you want to do again and again. You might find things that you don't actually like and you never have to do again because you get to decide. But this is also what I mean when I said that the layers or the prompts, when you pick a prompt and you create a layer, those layers can be 10 seconds, they could be 3 minutes, 10 minutes, half an hour, or maybe it spurs you on and you have a 3 hour creative session. You never know. There's something really fun happening here. I'm actually loving this. Looking at it on the screen is totally different. It's quite funny. Okay, I'm really conscious of time. I want to do a few more before I let you go. I really needed this. I've had such a stressful week, and honestly, thank you so much for coming. It means a lot to me. I really needed a little creative moment today. All right, so let's have a look. We had another prompt. Add neon accents. Let's do that one. We'll add some lovely bright neon color as our final layer tonight. And I had another one here that I could combine these two prompts. So splatter paint across the page, a controlled or a wild flick of the brush, controlled or wild, and I'm going to combine it with the neon accent prompt. All right, so I've got some pink here, which is my absolute favorite. But let's just, for a tiny second, let's just appreciate this crazy mess. Isn't that fun? Oh, thank you so much for Ulrike. Or thank you for your comment, Ulrike. I'll double check the PayPal. That's really good to know. And neon will look amazing on the page. Yes, I think so. I think so too. I love neon. My favorite. Let's pop that there. And here. And we're going to flick. Here we've got a controlled flick. I'm just tapping it on another brush. We can control where it goes quite easily. I'm just giving it a really good scrape because with acrylic inks, it often sort of gets stuck in the bottom of the jar. And here we are doing a very controlled flick. Some of it will start mixing with the black because the black is still wet. But I really love that kind of effect. I'll show you. It's happening already. And that will look really fun once it is dry because it just keeps doing its own thing. And look at that. That looks amazing on black. Oh, now I'm getting splatters everywhere. When you do this, just be careful because it is messy. And here I'll add some wild flakes as well. That was pretty wild already because it's everywhere, but let's do it anyway. I'm just sort of flicking it as if it was a magic wand. Here we go. Mixing some neon with black, because why not? That's actually a really fantastic combination. I really like that. And now I feel like if I didn't want to continue with the prompts, I feel like I would just continue coloring in these little bits on the page and continue my page that way. Oop. Oh gosh, it's going everywhere. Or if you wanted to, you could just keep picking another prompt and keep going with it and see where it takes you. When you let the decisions, you give all the decisions into or in the hands of coincidence. That could be really fun. And just see what kind of a page you get. And you can do every single prompt that you get if you want to, just to experiment and just to see when do you feel like the energy has finally run out and what kind of a page will you actually get when you give the decision making away out of your hands completely. That would be really fun as an experiment, actually. But you get to decide and you get to do it however you like. This is extremely addictive. Once again, now I could add, it's really hard to resist, isn't it? I could start with the coloring. So I really felt like I wanted to do that. Start adding some pink areas on the page. There we go. Let's see what happens. Mixing the pink and the black. That is too much fun. And this is exactly how the page starts taking shape. Just that one little layer at a time. All right. I hope you've enjoyed our creative session tonight. I'll have a look what's happening on the platform and I'll let you all in the layer jar. Thank you so much for coming along. I love having you with me. And of course, I would love for you to come into the Facebook group and share your pages and share your layers one by one. So the Facebook page link is in the caption. So please do come and join us. It's a completely free group. And look at that. How much fun was this? This is definitely something I would not have created unless I was here, without you here tonight with me and without the prompts. So thank you again for coming. This is my new favorite tool, and I just love the just sort of accidental nature of it because you just get what you get and you can decide what to do with it. And everyone will react differently to each prompt as well, which makes it super fun. I'll just pop it back here for a second to say thank you so much, everyone. It was so lovely to have you here, and I hope to see you again soon. We'll have another creative pause in February, and that will be all about beginning the 100-day project together. So I hope to see you then, and in the